As 2025 winds down to a close, we have some really cool news from Decoyu. They are a almost 2-year-old multi-tool company from overseas that have just taken off and are going really strong, all out. They are innovating, creating, and that's what we're talking about today. And there's a couple big reveals that you don't want to miss. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you some of my favorite things that I've acquired. And I don't know, you might think they're crazy, but I love them. All right, so let's start with Decoyu. Now, Decoyu for the past almost 2 years has really been changing things up. Now, one of the first tools that really caught my attention was this signal clone right here from Decoyu. And I felt like they did one of the best jobs with this, like this little hammer at the bottom, the 2 outside tools, the pliers, and then on the inside, there was some extra tools as well. And this came in somewhere around $25 to $30 before shipping. And I felt like it was just very nicely done. A very solid tool, one of their best tools that they made. And then eventually this series, this lineup came out, and there was a lighter version. This was more the heavier version with these interior tools, and then a Leatherman bit driver. And then the 4 outside tools, and these came in G10 and all types of handles options. And then some of them actually came with pocket clips and some did not. And then eventually, one of the latest tools I have received from Decoyu was this Leatherman free clone with the D2 knife blade, and then all the outside tools available. And this is the nicest version of a Leatherman free clone option to date that I have seen. Then on the inside, these pliers where you could actually take them apart and clean them, and it works really nice. Now, for their 2nd anniversary edition, Decoyu is doing something very special in that they are making their version of the Leatherman Wave Alpha. And what it looks like they are doing is they are using this tool right here as the platform. Now, I reviewed this tool. I think this was labeled under the BHBT name, but I think Decoyu has several versions. It's fairly close to this tool right here, and then Decoyu may have already made their version as well. I can't remember, but this one right here, I was pretty impressed with it. But this is the one that has almost like the Victorinox style implements right here. So there's the serrated blade, and then there's this style blade. And as you can perhaps see from some of the pictures, it looks like they're using this basic tool as maybe the prototype for the design, perhaps. And then it looks like they are using a replaceable pocket clip, and so they're altering the design a little bit from what it looks like, and then they will use this basic tool and then make it look like the Leatherman Wave Alpha. So G10 scales on it. They will make this knife blade the equivalent steel of MagnaCut and whatever they offer overseas. Now, one of the other really cool things is that they are attempting to make wire strippers in these replaceable cutters. Now, I know that's not a huge deal for a lot of people, but Tiny Tools came out with a video on how you can cut down a pair of wire strippers and actually make them fit the Leatherman Wave and many of the other Leatherman products. And I thought that was a very ingenious idea. Fantastic. I will leave a link to his video below. He did an excellent job with that. And he came out with a whole tutorial on how to do that recently. Really, really good. And so Decoyu actually is building on that, and they are adding these wire stripper cutters only in this anniversary edition tool. So I definitely will be picking up at least one, depending on the price, 2 or so of these tools because I really like those cutter designs. Now, one of the things that it does look like that this anniversary edition will have is a 5mm bit driver, and that is because to make a tool similar to the Leatherman Wave, you need narrow handles. And so to make something very similar, you either have to go with a Leatherman style bit driver and then like another tool in there, or you can increase the bit driver and you can use a 5mm. There's not a lot of room for a 1/4 inch. Now, some tools like SQT and different other versions have come out with the 4mm or the 1/4 inch bit driver, but I think their tools are a little bit wider and a little bit heavier. So that's the issue. If you want a little bit of a lighter tool and something more comparable to the Leatherman Wave, then you do have to compromise a little bit with the bit driver inside. So here's an example with the Multi-Force from Walmart, and then this tool handle right here. And you can see that this is a little bit wider right there. And so it can accommodate that 1/4 inch bit driver, but then you've got a little bit of a heavier tool set as well. Now, Decoyu is dropping some limited edition pieces. They have a fixed blade knife, only 30 pieces. I'm not sure if that's sold out yet or not. Made out of 440C. I would try to leave a link underneath, and on the screen I'll show you if it's still available or not as of this video. And then they have 200 units of the utility knife for $10. Now the utility knife looks pretty nice. I think it has what looks like G10 handles. Also, that's something that you can check into. And then some pretty cool news about the Reborn and the Reborn R1, the half handle flashlight handle. These are both shipping. Now the Reborn, the large multi-tool with the hammer in, that is now on Amazon, and I will leave a link to that as well. I think it's around $69, $70 or so. So you can now order that off of Amazon. And then the flashlight edition, if I remember right, that already has begun shipping to my house because I did the pre-order, and that's coming in somewhere around $40, I think so. So all these are really cool additions from Decoyu. And then they also have their DK Young. Now their DK Young is a aluminum version of some of these other knives that we have seen. I think it's going to be very similar to this as well. So it will be a version with aluminum handles. I went ahead and bought it because I really like Decoyu's products. And so I thought I would go ahead and review that. So as soon as that comes in, we'll go ahead and give that a review. I'm curious to see how heavy it is compared to this tool right there. That could also be a game changer. I think they're a very exciting company, a company definitely to keep watching. Now with Decoyu's anniversary edition, one of the things they did mention was that they are offering what essentially is a lifetime warranty on their anniversary edition tool. So I am guessing that it will be a little bit pricier because of that and the blade increase, but it will be interesting to see what it is when it comes out. All right, so I want to share with you a couple things that I have really enjoyed, and they don't make sense really to share like a whole video on, but this is the SK03 from Loop Gear, and this is primarily a flashlight, but I did not buy it for the flashlight function. I actually bought it for the pocket clip because I really love how you have this not only bottle opener, I don't think that's that exciting, but has this like scraper, and just the idea of a utility tool that locks. You turn this button and it locks, and then you press that out and it unlocks. I have long thought that multi-tools really should utilize the pocket clip, especially if it's replaceable. And I've toyed with some ratcheting options, some fire starting pocket clips, maybe pen pocket clips. I forget all the ones that I've done, but none of them have been extremely successful, but I do think there is potential. And this is one of the first ones where I feel like it actually makes a little bit more sense. This is actually a magnetic pocket clip right there, and then you can angle this flashlight to where you need to work in whatever space. Now I have to say that as a pocket clip, it doesn't work that good. What they need to do is make a lock right here so that it locks into place, because I do find it almost like falling off the belt a little bit. So maybe I just don't quite understand, but I do like the concept. So really, really interested in that. I think it's a very cool looking light. It was fairly expensive, but then I did find it on sale. I'm not really sure what price this is right now at the moment, but I bought it again more for the pocket clip, and I will leave a link to it under the video. Now this right here, I'm sure is probably a copy. I think I did see that there is a very expensive knife. Who knows, maybe there is a Columbia River knife, the CRKT version as well. But this one right here is it's just sort of like a fidget utility knife, but I find it very fun. It comes in at $14, and for $14, I think it's a big win. Is it a perfect knife? No, you have to be careful of this right here, that it doesn't fall out. I don't know that it's necessarily the smoothest knife. I think it does have some rough edges right here. It's not finished extremely well, but just for this fidget factor, I sort of drive my wife crazy just making these clicks sometimes all night long, and it's just fun. For $14, it's fun. It comes with a lot of extra blades. I think this is a really cool tool and is something that I have immensely enjoyed. It was $14 well spent. Well, that's it for now, but let me know below, what are some tools like this that don't make sense, but you really enjoyed buying anyway? I'd be very interested to hear what they are, and who knows, I might want to pick one up as well.